Hi and welcome to Sturm und Drang. Just a few days ago, UN Watch, a pro-Israel advocacy group, which uses the facade of a legit human rights organization, posted a video of UN Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese in which she allegedly doubles down in her quote-unquote terror apologia of Hamas. As you may know, Albanese has used her position as UN human rights expert to energically and unambiguously denounce Israel's crimes, and for this reason, she has been the target of an unrelentless smearing campaign unleashed by the supporters of the Zionist regime, which culminated with the US government's decision to put sanctions against her. What we are going to do now is watch together the so-called incriminating video, a 45-second clip which portrays Albanese speaking at a public event in Italy, and fact-check her statements on Hamas by comparing them with what scholars with specific expertise on the Islamic movement have written in peer-reviewed academic publications on the topic.
Però Hamas. Io non credo che la gente abbia idea e contezza di che cosa sia Hamas, perché Hamas è una forza politica che ha vinto le elezioni nel 2005, che ci piacciono o no. Quelle sono state definite le elezioni più democratiche Hamas ha messo insieme un sistema di scuole, strutture pubbliche, ospedali. Era semplicemente l'autorità, come si chiamava in gergo tecnico, l'autorità di fatto. Quindi è fondamentale che si capisca che quando si pensa ad Hamas non si deve pensare necessariamente a tagliagole, gente armata fino ai denti o a combattenti. Non è così.
Let's start by reviewing the first claim made by Ms. Albanese. Did Hamas actually win democratic elections? A little bit of history here. After a lot of internal debate, Hamas decided to participate in the 2006 Palestinian legislative elections. And to this aim, the movement created a political party called Change and Reform. Hamas's involvement in electoral politics was welcomed by both Fatah and the Bush administration, which hoped to tame the resistance movement and, at the same time, to give legitimacy to the electoral process. Change and Reform ran on a pragmatic, broad policy platform which tried to appeal to Palestinians, both in the West Bank and in Gaza. Although the party was clearly not completely independent from Hamas' political bureau, their candidates were chosen for their perceived administrative capabilities, rather than solely on ideological grounds. This pragmatic approach was a decisive factor in the Islamic movement's overwhelming historic victory in those elections. Other factors included Hamas's reliability in providing welfare services, a very important point mentioned by Francesca Albanese that we will cover in detail later in the video. The elections were free and fair, fact confirmed by international observers. Fatah and other major actors did not contest their legitimacy, going as far as congratulating the Palestinians on their quote-unquote successful democratic election, but rather used their coercive power to overturn the electoral results. After the elections, Hamas tried to create a national unity government, which included other Palestinian factions, but Fatah refused, boycotted the new elected Legislative Assembly, refused to relinquish power, and tried to organize a coup with the help of foreign powers to violently overthrow the democratic elected government. This, in turn, led to armed clashes between Palestinian factions and, ultimately, to Hamas controversially seizing control of the Gaza Strip, or, as Francesca Albanese puts it, to Hamas becoming the de facto authority in the enclave. Let's review now the second claim that Albanese made in that video. Did Hamas build schools and hospitals, as she says? The answer is yes, definitely. It is commonly accepted that since its inception, and way before taking over government duties in Gaza, Hamas has been very active in the social sector and built its influence through a network of charities, educational and healthcare institutions, which obviously included schools and hospitals. One notable example in this regard is Al-Wafa Medical Rehabilitation Hospital, an Islamic healthcare institution which offered highly specialized medical services to a sizable portion of the Palestinian population. So, yes, everything Francesca Albanese has said in that video is factually correct. Hamas, with all its flaws, is a complex, multifaceted political reality, and reducing it to its military wing while ignoring its role and influence in the social sector and in Palestinian civil society is extremely disingenuous and counterproductive. But, most importantly, Francesca Albanese is right when she said that people have no idea of what Hamas actually is. Whichever opinion, whichever critique you may have of Hamas has to be evidence-based. No investigation, no right to speak. Understanding Hamas for what it actually is a necessary step to achieve a sustainable and just solution to the Palestinian question. As Sarah Roy, one of the most prominent scholars of Hamas, prophetically wrote in 2011, quote, "In fact, there can be no credible peace process with a Palestinian government that excludes the party elected by Palestinians to govern them." As this book argues, Hamas not only remains open to sharing power, it also has a history of non-violent accommodation and political adaptation, ideological reflexivity and transformation, and political pragmatism that the West should welcome. The alternative portends disaster, as it threatens to strengthen the most regressive elements within Hamas and radicalize Palestinians overall, further destabilizing a situation that is already fraught with unbearable tension. End quote. Well, that was all for today. I felt the need to make this short video because I was tired of all the smearing campaign directed at Francesca Albanese, a woman who has the merit of spitting facts which are widely accepted among human rights and international law experts, but are politically untenable to those who are currently committing and abetting the genocide in Gaza. If you found this video useful and would like to support my work, you can do it by leaving a like, subscribe to this channel without forgetting to activate the notifications, and by leaving a feedback in the comments. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.